This is the first part on a series I will do on Kabbalah. I'm reading a lot of different sources on Kabbalah, and as I read and study the sources, I will make videos trying to explain what I've learned. Kabbalah is commonly referred to as Jewish mysticism, but this definition is way too simplistic. And as I've come to understand through studying the various sources, there's not just one school of study on Kabbalah. There's Kabbalah with a K, Kabbalah with a Q, and Kabbalah with a C. The Kabbalah spelled with a K is the traditional Kabbalah of Judaism. The sources that I've read on this school of Kabbalah were written by an Orthodox rabbi named Ariel Bar Tzadok. And according to Ariel Bar Tzadok, who operates a school called Kosher Torah School, authentic Kabbalah is not a path of mystical philosophy, superstitious nonsense, or semi-occultic beliefs. Authentic biblical Kabbalah is simply the teachings of the biblical prophets. Their message has always been to draw souls back to a natural and simple way of life, as God meant life to be. The biblical prophets taught a meditative system which enables the practitioners to recognize and see the spiritual realities underlying everything in our physical world. The purpose of these teachings is to cultivate actual, authentic, and personal spiritual experiences, the likes of which are psychological and transformational. The purpose of spirituality is to explore one's inner self and to discover and unleash one's inner latent potentials. Rabbi Tzadok explains that Kabbalah is the Hebrew word for received. What is received is the metaphysical and spiritual teachings handed down from the biblical prophets. Because of the exile of the Jewish people into foreign lands, these teachings were handed down only to those who were worthy of receiving them, and they were passed down almost exclusively by word of mouth for 1,200 years. After the destruction of the Jewish temple by the Romans in 68 CE, many of the ancient teachings were finally put into writing. But according to Rabbi Tzadok, this is when the troubles began. The teachings began to be disseminated outside Jewish circles and were copied by non-Jews, mostly Catholics, who translated them into Latin and other European languages. The Vatican Library today houses one of the largest collections of Kabbalistic text in the world. And the problem, says Rabbi Tzadok, is that many mistakes in the translations were made because the transcribers were not experts in Hebrew, the original language of Kabbalah. Also, there was a tendency to interpret the text in light of Christian doctrine. This led to another form of Kabbalah, one spelled with a C. However, there was to be yet another translation and interpretation. Because Kabbalah is a metaphysical science, its teachings were also integrated into European schools of occult and magic. This led to a form of Kabbalah practiced by occultists, and this is the one spelled with a Q. This is the form of Kabbalah that is most popularly known around the world, and it incorporates aspects of Egyptian and Greek mystery school teachings. This school teaches that Moses received the Kabbalah from the Egyptians, and of course this is in opposition to the Jewish teaching that the Kabbalah was divinely revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai. Of course, this pains Rabbi Tzadok, who says that this has led to widespread misunderstanding of the authentic Kabbalah, and as a result, the public believes it to be something of the occult and something that is demonic and dark. But we must remember that the word occult simply means hidden. And occult does not imply that something is dark and evil, because there's both a light occult and a dark occult, and this is something that people misunderstand as well. The majority of sources on Kabbalah that are most commonly read are those that pertain to the Kabbalah with a Q and that with a C. Various Gnostic schools rely a great deal on the study of Kabbalah, and this will then be the focus of this series. I'll report on what I learn as I make my way through the sources I've listed in the description below. I'm going to begin with the ideas of Manly P. Hall that are taken from the secret teaching of all ages and the sacred magic of the Kabbalah. Chapter 25 of Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings is called The Kabbalah, the Secret Doctrine of Israel. Though he spells Kabbalah with a Q, he refers to Israel, which of course makes the reader think of the Jewish philosophy of Kabbalah. So please keep in mind everything that I said about a few minutes ago. Hall says that Hebrew theology was divided into three parts. These were the law, the soul of the law, and the soul of the law. The law was to be taught to all children of Israel. The Mishnah is the soul of the law and was thought to be revealed only to the rabbis and teachers of Judaism. The Kabbalah, the soul of the law, was hidden. Only the highest initiates in the religion of Judaism were taught the principles of this doctrine, and it is the religion of the Jewish mystics. According to the teachings of the mystics, the written law was delivered to Moses during the first 40 days of Moses' ascension of Mount Sinai. During the second 40-day period, Moses was given the soul of the law, the Mishnah. And during the third 40 days, Moses received the mysteries of the Qabbalah, or the soul of the law. The mystical teachings were concealed by Moses in the first 4 books of the Pentateuch. Those who study the secret doctrine of Israel are searching for the unwritten law of the Mishnah and the Qabbalah. The belief is that the unwritten secret law was revealed to mankind so that through the aid of its principles, man might discover the mystery of both the universe outside of him and the universe within him. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the origin of the Qabbalah. Some of the earliest stories about this say that the principles were first taught by God to a school of his angels before the fall of man. These principles were later given to Adam by the angel Raziel, and subsequently other angels imparted them to the patriarchs who succeeded Adam. According to the French occultist Eliphas Levi, the 3 greatest books of the Kabbalah are the Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, the Sefer HaZohar, the Book of Splendor, and the Apocalypse, the Book of Revelation. Although no one is sure exactly when the books were written, and it is not clear who the authors were, presumably all were Jewish rabbis. The legend is that the secret doctrines have been in existence since the beginning of the world, but not actually written down until much later. The oldest of the books is the Sefer Yetzirah, said to be written by Abraham, but probably written by Rabbi Akiba around 120 A.D. The Sefer HaZohar was probably written by Akiba's disciple, Rabbi Simeon ben Jokai, who is said to have transcribed the manuscript while hiding in a cave because he was under a death sentence issued by the 2 regents of Rome. 1,200 years after the death of Rabbi Simeon, the books he had compiled were discovered and published by Moses de Leon. Probably these books were compiled by Moses de Leon himself about 1305 A.D. The authorship and date of the Apocalypse is unknown, but it's credited to St. John the Divine. The doctrines of the Kabbalah had great influence over medieval thinking, both Christian and Jewish. It taught that there existed within the sacred writings a hidden doctrine. Understanding the hidden doctrine was a key to understanding the writings. Many scholars have since searched for the key to these arcane truths. The theories of Kabbalism are interwoven with many other esoteric schools of thought, including alchemy, Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, and Freemasonry. The simple tenets of the Qabbalah in the first centuries of the Christian era have evolved into an extremely complex theological system. The study of the Qabbalah is the study of the sacred science of what is called the natural Qabbalah, the analogical Qabbalah, the contemplative Qabbalah, the astrological Qabbalah, and the magical Qabbalah. The natural Qabbalah was the study of nature's mysteries. The analogical Qabbalah was created to probe the relationship that exists between all things in nature. The main thesis to be discovered was that all creatures and substances are one in essence. Man, according to this theory, is the little universe, a replica in miniature of God, the great universe. The contemplative Qabbalah was formulated to reveal to man the mysteries of the celestial spheres. Through its study and use of the higher intellectual faculties, man can use abstract reasoning to contemplate the planes of infinity and know the creatures that exist within them. The astrological Qabbalah taught about the power, magnitude, and substance of the sidereal bodies and revealed the mystical constitution of the planet itself. Last but not least, the magical Qabbalah was created to help man to gain control over the demons and subhuman intelligences of the invisible worlds. It was also used as a method of healing by the use of talismans, amulets, charms, and invocations. The cosmogony of the Qabbalah is covered in chapter 26. Manly P. Hall writes that to the Kabbalists, the supreme deity is an eternal state of being called the Ein Sof. The Ein Sof is incomprehensible and indefinable. It is the unconditioned state of all things. It is without substance, essence, or intelligence. It is the immortal, from which all other essences emerge, including universe, gods, and man. The Ein Sof forms and nourishes all of these, and all of them must eventually return to it. The Kabbalists refer to the Ein Sof as the most ancient of all the ancients. It was considered to be sexless. In addition, it was believed that to define it is to defile it. However, it is possible to study how the Ein Sof projected creations out of itself and to assign symbols as a method of describing its powers. Therefore, the nature of Ein Sof is depicted as a circle because the circle symbolizes eternity. Ein Sof is infinite. Within the circle shape given to it, all creation and dissolution takes place. It is the cosmic egg which will only be broken at the end of the cycle of necessity, where all things return to their ultimate cause. According to the teaching, 40 rates of vibration, called by the Kabbalist spheres, emanate from Ein Sof. The 40 spheres of creation out of Ein Sof are divided into 4 great worlds. These worlds are Azaluth, the boundless world of divine names, Bria, the archangelic world of creations, Yetzirah, the hierarchical world of formations, and Asaya, the elemental world of substances. Each of the 4 worlds has 10 powers or spheres which come out of it as emanations, and each sphere is born out of the one that precedes it. The first 10 great circles or globes of light which are manifested out of Ein Sof are said to be the 10 names of God. Each of the 10 names stands for a specific power of God. These are Ehel-Aya, which means I am that I am, Jehovah, or essence of being, Jehovah Elohim, God of gods, El, God the creator, Elohim Gibor, or God the potent, Eloah Vadath, God the strong, Jehovah Zaboth, God of hosts, Elohim Zaboth, Lord God of hosts, Shaddai, El Chai, or omnipotent, Adonai Melech, God, and the last of all, the second crown, out of which the world of Bria was established. These 10 emanations are called the foundations of all creations and are designated as the 10 roots of the tree of life. They are arranged in the form of a great human figure called Adam Kadmon, the man made from the fire mist or red dirt, the prototypic universal man. The human body, like that of the universe, is considered to be a material expression of 10 spheres of light. This is why man is called the microcosm, the little world, built in the image of the great world of which he is a part. The teachings of the Kabbalistic school teach man to climb the rings or emanations, unfold his consciousness until at last he returns to Ein Sof. The process by which he does this is called the 50 gates of light. The 50 gates reveal a certain evolutionary process, and he who can attain the highest degree of understanding must pass through all of them in sequential order. In the next video, I will give Manly P. Hall's explanation of what the Kabbalists call the tree of the Sephiroth. See you next time.